These are all 30 8-stud wide Speed Champions cars, starting with the inaugural year of 2020 when they first transitioned to 8-stud wide, all the way to the current lineup of 2023. Now technically some of these are SUVs and some are 9 studs wide. This will be the one and only time that you see this dragster in the video. It did come with this Dodge Challenger. However, I'm not going to compare it to these other cars for obvious reasons. Now, LEGO transitioned to 8-stud wide to take more of our money. No, I'm just kidding. They transitioned for the reason of packing in more detail into a larger car and to widen it so they can get the correct aspect ratios. And this ultimately makes for a more realistic and better display model. Before we get any further, please consider subscribing to this channel if you enjoy this content. Before I get into ranking, I wanted to introduce each car from each year, starting with 2020. There were 7 cars available for purchase, which include the Lambo Huracan, the Lambo Urus, the Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy, the Jaguar Formula E, the 1985 Audi Sport Quattro, the Ferrari F8 Tributo, and the Nissan GT-R Nismo. 2021 consisted of 8 cars in the lineup. They include the Koenigsegg Jesko, the Toyota GR Supra, the McLaren Elva, Chevy Corvette C8.R, the 1968 Chevy Corvette, the 1970 Dodge Challenger Trans Am, the Ford GT, and the Ford Bronco. 2022's lineup consisted of 9 cars, including 2 movie cars. We've got the 1970 Ferrari 512M, the Lotus Evija, the Lamborghini Countach, the Mercedes-AMG F1, the Mercedes-AMG Project One, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, the Aston Martin Vantage GT3, the Aston Martin DB5, and the Fast and Furious 1970 Dodge Charger. 2023's lineup consists of 6 cars at the moment, including the Ferrari 812 Competizione, hope I got that right, the Pagani Utopia, the Porsche 963, the Too Fast Too Furious Nissan Skyline R34, the McLaren Solus GT, and the McLaren F1 LM. Before we get started, let's explain the rules. These rankings are based on aesthetics, which include appearance, curb appeal, realism, structural stability and playability, the use of unique LEGO elements, the overall build experience, and the application of printed elements and stickers. So without further ado, let's get started. Ranking number 30 is the McLaren Elva. Now there's just something missing about this, but I just can't seem to put my finger on it. Also, the seats, the printing on them is not opaque enough to match the white plastic of the headrests. And then it's got this annoying flap in the door section. It just kind of irritates me. The Toyota GR Supra finished low in my rankings because of its lack of excitement. It also doesn't have many printed elements. In fact, the only printed elements are on these 1x1 tiles in the back. And the stickers used for decorations, like the headlights, do not line up that well, though I've tried my best cheating them to the edges of the LEGO elements. At number 28 is the Lamborghini Urus. It pretty much looks like the real thing. The major con, though, is the huge tires that stick way too far out. And it's a little bit boxy and plain, although there is a lot of interior space. But what do you do with that space? The build wasn't really that exciting. In fact, it uses a lot of conventional building techniques, uses a lot of bricks, in fact, making it one of the heaviest Speed Champions cars. At number 27 is the 1970 Ferrari 512M. Now you could see what they were going for, and it looks pretty good except for the canopy, which is way too narrow for this car. It's really weird to me that they printed on top of this transparent tile The red doesn't match the plastic, but why not just use a regular 1x2 red tile? I think that looks better. The Ferrari F8 Tributo comes in at number 26. I think it's pretty okay overall. However, it's not smooth like the real thing, nor would I expect it to, being made out of Lego, but it just doesn't seem like all of the elements come together to really shape this car properly. Another flaw to point out is the canopy does not close all the way, due to the driver just not having enough space to fit in there. Ranking at number 25 is the 1968 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. I like the dark red color, and overall it's very smooth, very little studs showing. I also like the custom wheels. However, the tires aren't thick enough, and the general shaping of the car is not curvy enough. And I do not like how the stickers are not lining up near the bottom. Also, for a 60s car, there should be metallic elements instead of these medium stone gray. This is Dominic Toretto's 1970 Dodge Charger from the Fast and the Furious. Has nice custom wheel prints. It's an iconic car with an iconic minifigure, and also has a detailed interior. In my opinion, the weakest part of this car is just all the lines that you get from these plates and tiles all put together. Plus, it needed some metallic elements for the bumpers. The Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy is very striking due to its medium azure colors with black contrast. However, there are so many stickers used, and the stickers do not line up, nor do they match the color of the plastic. And this is an SUV, but has no rear seating. At number 22 is the Ford Bronco. It's fun to play with and very different from the norm of the Speed Champions lineup, which usually has supercars. But here they did this off-roading SUV. It's a 9-stud wide build. There are a total of 6 tires that come with it. Very rugged tires at that. However, there's no printed elements used in this build. It's all stickers, so I would say that's the weakest point. The 1970 Dodge Challenger has some really cool building techniques. It's surprising how it all comes together, and it's structurally stable considering all of these unconventional building techniques. I like how everything is smoothed out, and it really is a good building experience. We really could have used some metallic elements for the front and rear bumpers. Now this car uses metallic elements for its contrasting gold color. However, a lot of that contrasting color relies heavily on stickers, and there's just plain way too many. The weak point of this car is its shaping. It just doesn't shape up like the real thing. Here's the car on the box. And just around back here, they use these huge sloping bricks. And I just don't think it's got the right shape and doesn't mesh well with the canopy. The Formula E Jaguar has striking visuals, good building techniques, and in general, fun to play with. I really don't have much bad stuff to say about it, other than just the competition in front of it is very competitive. Such competition is the Mercedes-AMG F1 car. It's got wide tires with the help of those extra pieces that clip onto the outsides. I think it looks sleek. It really sits low, the lowest it can go, and still drive around. And I think the teal accents are easy on the eye. There are quite a number of stickers used in this build, and the driver just sits way too high. He should be a lot lower there. This build does come with some extra pieces to switch the numbers on the car to represent a different driver. Bond's Aston Martin DB5 uses metallic elements to good effect. There's good prints throughout, such as the radiator grille there. However, the stickers that are used don't match the gray plastic very well. In fact, why do they have to have a sticker for a door handle? I like the custom wheel covers. It is an iconic car with an iconic minifigure. The interior looks nice too, with a suggestion of a back seat. Doesn't look bad as a convertible either. The absence of side view mirrors and pillars leaves something to be desired. Also, Bond's hand is pretty cramped underneath the windscreen. A rally car is a welcome addition to the Speed Champions series. It's the only Audi that's an 8-stud wide car. Also uses white wheels instead of the conventional black ones. I really like the splashes of color. The printing is done well, as you can see on that wedged plate. The hood is printed as well. The stickers are pretty good. It's a rally car, so it should have stickers. And its general shaping is perfect for recreating in Lego form. The Jesko has some good building techniques, and in general is a well-rounded car for the Speed Champions line. It has a printed canopy, but relies on stickers for the headlights. Though the real thing is well curved and smooth, the Lego version has a lot of studs showing, so that's why it's not up in the top 10. Also, like most of the Speed Champions 8-wide vehicles, the steering wheel is off-centered. The C8 Corvette has good building techniques as well. It's fun to play with, and overall it's just a good car. And that's just it. It's good, but it's not great. The proportions are not quite like the real thing. The Lotus Evija gives you a lot of Lego elements in this earth green tone, including a snowboard. It has good building techniques, printed headlights, plenty of room for the minifigure inside with centered steering. The major flaw with production was this yellow striping was way too high on the canopy. Here you can see it on the real thing. The Nissan GT-R Nismo is very exciting with all of its splashes of colors. It relies heavily on stickers, however the hood is printed. The biggest con of this vehicle would be its small wheels. Speaking of small wheels, these ones needed to be bigger as well. However, it's nice to have those custom printed wheel covers. The Aston Martin Valkyrie has very unconventional building techniques, and the end result is a very sleek design, so the build experience is very satisfying on this one. I believe this is the longest Speed Champions 8-stud wide car, and it doesn't look like you would be able to fit two figures in there with the narrow canopy. However, there's just enough space to fit both. Now things are getting serious. At number 10 is the Pagani Utopia, with nice bold printing for the headlight pieces and the canopy. I mean, the canopy printing comes all the way down to the shoulder line, which is great and not seen before in previous years of Speed Champions. The interior is pretty deluxe with the nougat colored elements. Also, the driver is centered with respect to the steering wheel, as that was pretty rare in previous years of Speed Champions. There's more printed elements in the back. There's not many stickers at all throughout the build. New Lego elements are used to good effect. It's a very satisfying build. Now, the only problem with the build that bothers me is this movement in the back here. If you want to play with this thing or pick it up from the back, these things are going to move on you. Then you have to realign the taillights. However, there is an easy fix that I pointed out in one of my other videos. If you just remove this back tail, add two G-slope elements, snap those on the tan plate here. With that simple fix, the back assembly stays in place better. This car probably could have ranked higher if it had more striking colors. Ranked at number 9, this is the Mercedes-AMG Project One. It has a great build experience incorporated in it. Really satisfying techniques used. The canopy, headlights, and even the AMG letters in the grille are all printed elements. This could have been a really nice car, but the stickers ruined it. The color mismatch, the poor alignment. There's a hot mess going on right here. This is supposed to be a continuation of the window, but I cannot visualize that. It just does not look good the way the canopy transitions to these gray pieces and all the gaps in the black stickers. The brick-built portions of this car look incredible to me. Just the sticker applications really ruined this model. Rolling in at number 8 is the Porsche 963. It uses a new canopy piece for a very narrow driving experience, and it's used to good effect. The building techniques are great, very satisfying build, striking colors here, but lots of stickers. Just look at the build techniques used in this rear wing and rear diffuser. One flaw of this vehicle is that it's not as rounded and bubble-shaped as the real thing. The McLaren Solus GT made it to this spot because of its unique and bold design. It looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. The black and white color scheme is accented nicely by splashes of orange. Very little stickers are used in this build. And now to the cons. This is a 9-stud wide build, so that leaves the driver looking pretty small in comparison to the car. Also, the driver has to lean way back in order to fit under the canopy. Occupying the number 6 spot is another car from the 2023 lineup. This is probably the best Ferrari that LEGO has ever made. It's very displayable and actually very playable too, very structurally sound. It has good prints, and I think all the striping comes together pretty well. And I love the clever use of the exhaust tips with stud shooters. The only 2 flaws that I can point out that really aren't that major is the canopy cannot close completely, and also the steering is slightly off-centered. But I do like the prints on the headrests. Okay, here's another dark gray car. But unlike the Utopia, this car seems more interesting to me because of its lime green accents. This is one of those rare circumstances where the driver is centered with respect to the steering wheel. This car really has good building techniques, and there's not a whole lot of negativity that I can say about this. You even get the Aston Martin logo printed on a side of a 1x2 plate. The Lamborghini Countach is done really well. It's instantly recognizable, especially with those custom printed wheels. It has great building techniques and pretty much looks like the real car. I think the front end and the rear end is spot on. I think the weakest part of this build is the midsection. I don't like these studs on the top. As you can see, nice and smooth here. Also, there's some features on the sides that are missing or lacking. Like, you know, the continuation of the fenders from front fender to rear fender. And, you know, that bigger inlet or whatever you call it. The printing on the canopy is a bit light. It doesn't match the white of the plastic. And the steering is off-centered. Ranked at number 3 is the iconic Too Fast, Too Furious Brian's Skyline R34, though it looks more like an R32. This car is the first to have prints on the wheel arches, and the stickers really don't have to line up perfectly well because they're intermittent in design, so they look fine the way they are. Love the custom wheels for this car as well. There's probably too many studs showing on the hood. The minifigure sits centered within the steering wheel, and there's the NOS bottle tanks. In general, I think this car is great for play and display alike. The Ford GT takes the silver, and here's why. It has very nice shaping It's so smooth throughout. There's a good balance of prints and stickers, and they're all done well, very effective. And this car is just generally pleasing on the eye. I really think this car is great for play and display alike. The only thing I could possibly complain about is that the steering wheel is off-centered. Which Speed Champions car takes home the gold? It is the McLaren F1 LM. With its bright orange colors, it stands out from every car, in my opinion, from 2020 through 2023. It is that good. Let me explain. The build of this car is very satisfying, very interesting techniques. It looks like the real car on the box, in my opinion, and it's so compact. It may be the shortest 8-stud wide Speed Champions car to date, but it's packed with so much good stuff. Good prints, excellent prints. Look, there's a McLaren print on the side of a plate there. The canopy, the lines come all the way down to the shoulder. The orange matches the plastic pretty well. It just looks good from all around. There are more plates in the back that have printing on the sides of them. It shapes up well. Not too many studs showing, especially on the top. Only on the spoiler are there studs showing. And I like the clever use of the paddle, the oar paddle, inside the door there. Here's a look at the interior. Driver is centered upon the steering wheel and centered upon the car. It's a one-man show here. I have absolutely no negativity to say about this car. Great for display and play. So something to point out, all 6 2023 Speed Champions cars finished within the top 10 out of 30 cars. So I didn't do this just because these are new cars. I really believe that these are at another level as compared to the 2020 and 2021 cars. Just new Lego elements available, maybe better manufacturing processes. And it's just proof that the Speed Champions theme is getting better. Do you agree on the top 3? Let me know in the comments.